really interesting developments that have been happening involving Ripple, XRP, and the greater community of cryptocurrencies at large. I'm certainly looking forward to seeing the various different developments that will be taking place involving Ripple, and especially XRP. They're going to be very, really prominent in the overall context of cryptocurrencies, and how we see these developments taking place is essentially building a road and establishing various different channels and pathways that will ultimately play to the greater benefit of cryptocurrencies at large. In particular, Ripple and how they've collaborated with the banks and the various different mechanisms of society that have essentially implemented this technology. And essentially, Ripple is one of the forerunners in respect to the totality of the mass adoption and really the establishment and how they've come to become acquainted with cryptocurrencies. And it ultimately, I think, watching Ripple and what's been happening and involving the technology is really going to, I mean, certainly it's piqued my interest because, you know, in the greater context of Ripple, I understand that it doesn't necessarily have the greatest reputation amongst the community at large involving cryptocurrencies. And I always make sure to make a point to pay attention to the community, and of course, you know, pay attention to all the different developments that have been taking place involving, you know, the various different levels and mechanisms of the, you know, the consciousness of, you know, ultimately cryptocurrency is one of those, you know, interesting spaces where the way that these things are going to be developing, you know, are ultimately going to send shockwaves through the totality of this sort of this development, this paradigm shift. And you know, I'm really excited about it. I mean, when if you guys were going to ask me, which cryptocurrencies am I, really, I mean, what are my perspectives on these? I mean, Litecoin, I think that Litecoin is, sort of a trash coin now. I mean, I don't know. I have mixed feelings about Litecoin because I still like it. I mean, I remember a few years ago, when you, back when the value of, or maybe it was just a year ago, I remember back when the value of a Litecoin was essentially the price of a cheeseburger. And ever since then, I've pretty much ignored Litecoin. I think that it's way overpriced in the larger context of cryptocurrencies. And so when I take into consideration the failure that is LitePay and the overall the larger context of how we've seen Litecoin, and you really have to think about it, who's going to go into a Starbucks and buy using a Litecoin? It's just not going to happen anytime soon. Really, Litecoin is going to have a hard time competing with the USD. It's going to have a hard time competing with the euro, especially in the current climate of cryptocurrencies where things are so volatile. And of course, it's going to take a long time as we continue to move forward step by step, and we really witness the totality of the significance of cryptocurrencies coming into the public consciousness and seeing how these developments are made possible. But of course, I mean, like I said, I mean, I'm for me, Litecoin's still a long-term hold. I think that there's a lot of potential with every cryptocurrency in the top 50, but of course, I mean, I just think that in comparison to Ripple, it's really no contest. I'm definitely paying attention to how Ripple has been making moves to become more decentralized, which I think is going to play into the favor of the developments that we see happening involving Ripple. And ultimately, it's really interesting to see a lot of these different household names that have been coming together with Ripple. And ultimately, I think that as things have, it's a real long-term perspective, the way that I've been looking at things. And of course, I think that Ripple is definitely a long-term hold as far as how I look at things and the way that I see things developing in the long term. And I know a lot of people have ultimately looked at Ripple and criticized it as being the banking crypto. And, a lot of criticism has been thrown at Ripple for having such a big part to play in the role of the establishment involving themselves with cryptocurrencies and so forth. So, and I wouldn't really give Ripple too many passes on their levels. I mean, you have to understand how sneaky how sneaky the establishment is, and ultimately that's one of the things that's got me so interested in doing more research involving Ripple, because that when these banks and all these names that we're hearing, Apple, Santander, coming into putting themselves invested in Ripple, I mean, for me, I don't think things look very I mean, my view on Bitcoin, I think that it's risen, and it came up to prominence, and of course we saw it having a huge role to play in the development of the public consciousness as it's developed so far. But ultimately, there's a lot of different. There's a really I mean, we're so early in the game when it comes to cryptocurrency, and I'm ultimately thinking that it's going to take a lot of it's going to take a lot of ups and downs, and there's going to be a lot of shakeups involving the listing of the cryptocurrencies that are on here. And I think that ultimately the fact that Ripple has so much room to grow and really develop what they're going to do, I think that there's a lot of different variables that can be leveraged in respect to Ripple's favor, and ultimately that effect is going to have a shockwave through the entire community. And I think that it goes really hand in hand with XRP. And I think that especially what we've been seeing happening involving Ripple and what they've been doing involving real estate, I think that that's a really interesting place for crypto to be applying. And of course, blockchain is going to be really big in accordance with the paradigm shift that we've been seeing happening involving the greater establishment. And the more people who get smartphones every single year, this is really going to send a huge impact through the way that cryptocurrencies are sort of fast-tracked, and you really have to take that into consideration when looking at the greater the potential that's in store for these things. When I think of the year like 2019, 2020, these are really going to be a completely different world than what we're looking at right now. So ultimately, I think that there really is an interesting point to be made in XRP at Ripple's favor. But ultimately, I think it's important also to look at the team that's working on these technologies. I mean, I think that the Ripple really does have a great team that's working to move forward and bring this technology. And of course, that's ultimately all that we have to look at is the team and all these different, and of course my understanding of Ripple is data driven. I find that it's important to read the all the different information that's made available respectively, and I'd recommend that everybody do that. Obviously, standard disclaimer, this video is for entertainment, educational purposes only. I know you guys probably already know that, but this is not financial advice. This video is basically just so that I could share a certain opinion regarding Ripple, XRP, and I'm always interested in hearing what the community's I'm always interested in hearing what the community's perspective is regarding these cryptocurrencies and so forth. And I mean, whatever your opinion is, whether you're more interested in stocks or any of these different things, I would say that cryptocurrency is definitely an interesting space, especially, I mean, obviously, standard warning to anybody who's just getting involved with, looking into these things is that it is very volatile, and overnight, a lot of really, really it shakes the foundation of your soul, really. So but all that being said, I definitely recommend that you guys go and follow Ripple on their Twitter. Twitter is a great resource for gathering information regarding cryptocurrencies and staying up to date. And of course, there's a link to my Twitter down in the description below. So if you guys are interested in connecting with us, you can connect through this Twitter right here is the new community Twitter. I think that it's really great to be sharing information regarding cryptocurrencies, and overall, I think that it's great for the community to be educated in that respect. But yeah, all that being said, I mean, just looking at the news regarding Ripple, I mean, here are 3 more reasons for possible Ripple, XRP, and Apple Pay. I mean, just seeing these news articles that are paying attention to Ripple and doing lip service, collaborate in the brand recognition of Apple and Ripple being side by side with another. It really is interesting to take into consideration how that does send an effect on the public consciousness and the greater understanding of the community as things continue to move forward. And those of us who've been involved with cryptocurrency for any amount of years, certainly you understand how much these things can change over a short period of time. I mean, just look at Bitcoin and look at how much has happened involving Bitcoin in just a really short period of time. We've seen Bitcoin being very underground sort of thing, and now ultimately cryptocurrencies have really made their impact on the mainstream, which is why it's definitely interesting to be paying attention to Ripple. But of course, I'm always interested in hearing everybody's opinion, so feel free to share your opinion down below in the comments. But all that being said, in the spirit of sharing different opinions, I'm actually going to be including a link to this video down in the description as well. Really great video, XRP coin crypto news. I mean, I was watching this video and it was really interesting. It talks about the possibility of really crazy price possibility, but really interesting things can happen. I wouldn't rule anything out in cryptocurrency, and I'd say there is a potential for Ripple to really have some significant future for it. So yeah, so all that being said, I hope you guys have enjoyed this content, and make sure that you check out this content right here. And all that being said, I will see you guys in the next video. Hopefully this video has contributed value to your life, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.